You know how much confidence I got. She's a medium, so what? She talks to him when we're not around. But she's my wife and she's sleeping with me. I'm alive, he's dead. All right, it's Monday at 11 o'clock. You know what that means? It's the Chazz Palminteri Show. And we got another episode with the ladies. Here they are.
And the Peanut Gallery.
And the Peanut Gallery.
Hello.
My wife is going to be in the Peanut Gallery today.
And your son.
And my son Dante. And, of course, John the One.
And John.
We are the Peanut Gallery.
Okay. Yeah. Right in. She jumps right in.
I love her.
She gives him no time.
She gives us the diamonds in the rough.
Okay, so...
The lab diamonds or the mine diamonds?
Wait, we'll talk about the lab diamonds. Wait, we already did that. 2 weeks ago. Okay, but we'll talk about that. We'll ask you a question. But don't forget to come and see the one-man show. Chazz Palminteri, the one-man show. You go to chazzpalminteri.net. John, where am I going to be, John?
So December 1st, we're going to be in Ridgefield, Connecticut at the Ridgefield Playhouse.
Yes.
January 5th, we are going to be in Naples, Florida at the Artiste Naples Performing Arts Center.
Love that place.
January 7th, we're going to be at the Steinmetz Hall in Orlando, Florida. And then on January 21st, my birthday in my hometown, we're going to be in Huntington, New York at the Paramount Theater.
The Paramount Theater. This is the one-man show that started it all before the movie, before the musical. It's a legendary show. You got to come and see it. Also, don't forget my restaurants, Chazz Palminteri. I got two of the best restaurants in New York, 30 West 46th Street in Manhattan, right off Fifth Avenue, and 264 Main Street in White Plains. But I'm with the ladies here today, and we got to go into these things. We got to think, what did the guy wanted to know about red flags on dates. What's a red flag? And he said something about, please, ladies, explain this to me. Beige flags?
I don't know. It's so crazy.
What's a beige flag?
It's a new thing now. Well, I don't know why it's beige and not yellow. Because you
Dante.
think green, yellow, red.
Dante, you're 26 years old.
What's the beige flag, Dante?
Every time you introduce me, I'm a different age.
Well, how old
Can
are
we
you?
pick one, please?
27. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. What is a beige flag, Dante?
Beige flag, my understanding is something that's like just kind of annoying, but it's like fine. Yeah, it's
it
like
should be yellow.
It's like kind of annoying. I don't know why everything needs to have a name. You know what I mean? Everything. What?
I have a question. Do you think a red flag or a beige, is this a red flag or a beige flag? We're driving down the road and we see kittens on the road.
Oh, God.
And the girl wants to stop and get the kittens and the man doesn't. Is that a red flag?
That was a horrible...
No, that's really good because if I saw kittens on the highway, those kittens may become roadkill, and I want to save those kittens.
Thank you, Catherine.
And I'm
They
kitty.
might.
Kitty for kitties. That's
Kitty
a new
for
campaign.
kitties.
There wasn't one kitty. It was 4, and I wanted to
That's
save
even
them.
more of a reason.
Well, wait a minute. Would this be a red flag or beige flag, Dante? If you
I don't
met-
think we understand the purpose of beige flag because this is.
Okay, yellow flag. If you met a girl and she wasn't crazy about animals, how would you feel about that?
That's fine. She doesn't have to like. She doesn't have to be down for it.
Okay, that's fair. So that's a beige flag.
Not like she doesn't need to be like, oh, we need to have cats and dogs and this. I'm done with cats and dogs is kind of the last stop for me. Like if a girl wants birds or snakes or fish, I'm not Steve Irwin, but like a couple cats, yeah.
As long as she's not cruel about animals, I mean, I feel like that's not a red
That's
flag.
me.
All right, so
a red flag
That's
means
me.
you get up and you go. You get maybe 3 red flags, and then it's I'm out of here.
For me,
Yes.
Someone who doesn't like animals, red flag.
for you, it's a red flag.
Red blaring volcano flag.
Yes.
I'm not
absolutely.
mean to animals, but I don't want animals.
But I couldn't marry you. I'm sorry. We have to break up.
But
Yeah.
does
You
this mean
mean-
I can't move in
Well, what
eventually?
about if it's not like he's mean to animals? He's not crazy about getting a dog or a cat.
That's a red flag for me. It would really make me sad. I'd
So
cry.
for you, it's a red
I
flag.
That's a
want a cat.
personal
Mike
thing.
doesn't want a cat. I wanted a cat.
That's personal. I don't know if it's really
Mike
a red
wants a cat?
flag.
I do. but
Mike
he
don't want a
doesn't.
cat.
No.
So when are you getting
But
the
I
cat?
don't want
But
a dog.
you know what, Gianna? It may be a beige flag.
Cats are the best. I'm very team cat.
You're very pro cat.
Oh, team cat, team dog is a big debate.
I'm team cat. I'm team cat.
Can we speak on the microphone, ladies?
I'm team cat.
Okay.
Okay. Tell me this. What is your red flag at dinner that you would get up and leave in the middle of dinner?
If she's
Go down the line.
I think I talked about it on
Yeah,
another
we did.
episode. I did.
Oh, you
if
did?
she's
Oh,
if she's
all right.
flirting with a waiter or flirting with another man in front of me, flirting.
Didn't that happen to you?
Yeah,
did it.
but
We
we
did
told that
this.
You told
story.
the
already.
story?
Okay, flirting. I would say if somebody
That's
started
disrespectful.
licking their fingers, like if they were eating chicken and they did a licking
Oh
of
yeah,
the
if they don't
fingers.
have good etiquette.
and that sound would be, oh God.
Do you want a
help me.
guy to tell you, like, would you rather have a guy go, I'm going to pick you up at 7:30, we're going to this restaurant?
Yes.
Or would you rather have a guy go, where would you like to
No.
go? No.
Make the move.
Make the move.
How
Nope.
about you, Catherine?
I think I would like both. Sometimes maybe he makes it, and sometimes he asks me.
Let's ask my wife. Gianna, how do you feel about it? Do you like the man? Now, don't go by now when you first, this is when you first meet a
Yeah.
man.
Well, can I tell? Does everyone know the story of how we went on our first date?
Yes.
You took me out. I had just come out of a date. I was engaged before you,
yes.
and I had someone who was very, very sure of what they wanted to do.
Right.
Dante
Do
didn't
we
know
need to
this.
share our
Did
love life
Dante
in front of
just
millions of
get
people?
broken the news too
Yes.
that his mother was engaged before his dad
Yeah, it was a loose engagement.
on the podcast?
It was a
There you go.
loose
It was
engagement.
a loose engagement. We were young,
Oh,
and
good.
so then I met.
It was a
then I went,
promise
no,
ring.
listen. Then I went out with a lot of guys who were very relaxed about it, and that wasn't so great. It was nice to have a say in it. Then I went out with you, and you took me out on a date. You took me to Nikki Blair's. Then you said we're going someplace else for dessert. You took me to the grill for dessert.
The grill.
I fell in love with you immediately. You were so strong, not pushy. See, there's a difference, Chazz.
Not pushy,
You
but
weren't
strong.
pushy, and you were respectful. You asked me if I liked it, but you had a plan, and I loved that.
Okay.
So I say great. Now, someone who's always wanting their way is not good, but someone who has a good idea but is also flexible.
A man with a plan in the beginning. First
In the
date,
beginning,
I want a
first
man
date.
with a plan.
So, ladies, how do you feel about that Chazz Palminteri show at gmail.com? We like to ask men and women. Are you strong? Or some guys are submissive now, but doesn't mean they're bad guys. Another guy is more of a dominant. But I think the women want to hear it's always his way. After a while, the woman might say, hey, would you mind? I don't feel like having Chinese food tonight. Could we go here? I mean, he should be okay with that.
Absolutely.
Initially, I want a man with a plan.
Okay.
And then you.
And then when you get to know each other, yes,
Tara,
it's nice
Tara
to be
likes to get
considered.
slapped around a little bit in
Oh
the beginning.
my God, not at all what
Okay,
I said.
so
And we talked about this on another episode. A telltale sign is the way that they treat the wait staff. But what happens? Okay, they treat you to dinner. They're very kind. They're very nice, but they leave a horrible tip.
No, red, done.
red?
Red.
I mean, I don't think you should. I don't know. I'd rather split the bill with you. You tell me to split the bill than not treat the waiter good.
Yeah.
With a good tip.
What a good tip.
If you can't afford to go out and eat and leave a good tip, don't go out.
Some people just, it's not even they can't afford. They just don't like to give a good tip.
Well, that's a big red flag.
That's a
You're
big red
selfish.
I agree with that. The tip is an important insight into the soul, into their kindness.
Yeah.
And also another thing is in New York City in the winter, we'd go to restaurants, and this ruins my night, and I have to go out and do something about it. And Chazz gets it. If you see a homeless person by the restaurant in the cold, that's
Right.
it. It's a ruination of the night. Someone who's not sensitive to that.
God
and
knows how
doesn't-
many dinners I bought for
Yeah,
these guys.
and me too. And someone who doesn't go out and help someone who's sitting outside the restaurant in the cold while you're walking in, that's a red flag. And Chazz and I always take care of that. But me on a date, it would ruin the date. I would have to go.
Well, how about a man who just he just says, no, I'm not getting this guy anything.
I'm leaving. I'm going home.
You're going home.
I'm going home. I've been called bad things before on dates, honey. You remember that?
Yeah.
But listen to this. I had a friend. We went out to a nice steak dinner one time, and there was a homeless guy sitting outside of the restaurant. And then when we came out, he handed him the box of steak.
And
the
the guy
homeless
didn't
man
want it.
opened up the box and threw the steak at my friend.
Yeah.
The homeless man just, I don't know what happened. He was mentally ill, whatever. He just threw the
Sometimes that
box right at my
happens.
friend.
They get angry.
I've
gotta be
offered to buy
careful.
people sandwiches before. If I see somebody, can you help me out? I'll go inside right now. What do you want to eat? I'm going to the deli.
I don't
What
give
do you
them
want?
money. I'll give them food.
I'll give them food. Sometimes they don't want it.
I agree with that.
Dante, you big tipper?
Yeah, Dante is.
Dante, you take after your father?
Yes, he is.
And your mother. I'm a
And
big
your
tipper.
mother?
I'm a big.
What is a
tipper.
good tip? Yeah, I tip at least 20%, 25%.
And if they're really good, way more.
Yeah, I mean, usually I'm like 20 to 25.
Yeah, 20 to 25 naturally.
How about if you get, wait a minute, here's the thing. If you get bad service, should you give a tip at all
Yes,
or give a good
yeah,
tip?
Yeah,
I always
yeah,
give
yeah.
a tippy. I'm not a good tip, but I always give
Right.
What I'm supposed to.
Right. I'll do what I'm supposed
not
to
a-
give,
it's
even if
not
I
a-
didn't like the service.
It's not about like you never know what could be going on in this guy's day. I don't know. Maybe he just lost his apartment and now you're there like, can I have this medium? And this guy's this fucking guy.
I have a
You never know.
gluten intolerance.
Yeah, just I always tip 20%.
Put honey in here. I know you did. You lied. You fucking lied.
This is a little behind the scenes in front of the
Thank
scenes.
you.
But
Thank you.
how about this? I went to Applebee's one time. Halfway through our meal, the waitress, the whole time, she was mean. She was unkind to us. She left. Do I leave a tip then? She left halfway through our meal and didn't
was
tell
something
us.
happening to
No,
her?
no. She's just in a bad mood.
So,
Her shift
so
was
another
over.
waiter came.
So another waiter came maybe an hour later. Like I was just dragging this on. I had nothing to
Yeah,
do just to see
yeah.
how long it took.
It
And
gets thrown over to the other waitress. They don't take it.
It goes to the next one. So
Yeah,
I did
it
leave
goes-
them a tip, but I just didn't know what to do. Like they
No,
left
not to the
mid-shift.
next one. It goes to the person who served you.
I get that
But,
we all
but
have.
did they get a tip since they left halfway through my meal and didn't tell us?
Well, if you leave, but I'm just saying, if you leave a tip, I was a waiter. If you leave a tip, and even if I left, and another waiter took over and goes, "Hi," that happens all the time. Hi, I'm going to take over. And that tip still goes to the person who served you.
The beginning.
Yeah.
So like, would that be a red flag if you didn't leave them a tip? They just didn't tell you they were leaving and they were nasty the whole time.
No, if I was there getting the nastiness along with the guy I'm on
Right.
table, why would that be?
Did you leave a tip, John?
I left a tip because I thought it was going to the person that helped us out, but I had to request that person first of all. And then when they came over, they said, "Oh, they ended their shift at 3 or whatever
Oh,
time
I see.
it was."
Okay.
Okay, here's another green or red flag. So if you go out with a guy or a girl and they say that they smoke a lot of pot, is that a green flag or a red flag or a beige flag?
A lot of pot?
A lot.
That may be.
If they're stoned at the date.
I think that would be probably a red for me.
Red.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a life? Could you survive without getting high?
Well, listen, it's like over drinking. If you come to the date
Yeah.
drunk,
Drunk,
it's
right.
a red
How
flag.
about
If you
you, Tara?
come to the date high,
No,
it's
I'm
not really.
not into you being high.
a good
having
look.
to be high to get on my first date. It's one thing if that was the way you were gonna get. Like if I'm gonna have a glass of wine and that's something you want to do, or an edible, that's how you get your high or your, elevation in your mood. Okay, but I don't want you showing up already intoxicated to our date. No.
That's a red. How about you, John? If the guy shows up, he smokes a lot of pot.
It's happened to me. Red flag.
Red flag. Okay.
Gone. A lot of these scenarios have happened to all of us.
Yeah.
So we
guess
really
they have.
know. But for out there, I think for our people that are listening, hi people, you need to know these things when you date or you're going out. Even if you're divorced, you're young or middle aged, you need to know these things because that really takes a lot of the guesswork out of
Right.
what's happening.
I wonder if the legalization of cannabis has now made that more common, or if it's
Probably.
less common now because now you can do it whenever, so now you're not doing it as
Well,
much.
I think edibles and all this other stuff, and I mean, I think more people are getting high now.
Talk to me about edibles, Dad.
Wait, 1 second. I'm
Well,
going to say something.
I don't know much about all this stuff,
But even though, Chazz, it's legalized now, and Karen, Catherine, even though
Right.
it's legalized, it's like liquor. It's nice that it's legalized. I think it's
Right.
great, but it's still a personal choice.
Yes.
It doesn't mean because it's legal you go bananas.
right.
Look, I
It's
was
a
in a
personal
rock band
choice.
in the 60s when this was all new and, and pot and LSD and cocaine. And, I had my run, But I think now it's all different now with these edibles and fentanyl. You don't even know what the hell you're reading. You could drop dead at any moment. So I can't speak about what's going on today.
What about people who are at a job and they go out for a smoke break and they get high instead of smoking a cigarette?
No, you don't drink on a job. You don't smoke on a
I
job.
mean,
I'm not.
I don't know. I mean, if a musician...
That depends on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a brain surgeon.
So listen to this.
Comics do it.
In San Francisco, they're reopening their evaluation into psychedelics in San Francisco, where they're starting to give microdoses to people in tech fields. And it's helping them solve problems. I think they had 27 problems that they couldn't solve. After they took these microdoses of LSD, they solved 25 of the 27 problems because it opened up their mind.
Is it
you
like
know what?
shrooms? Like
It's either LSD or shrooms. I'm pretty
I
sure
don't
it's
believe.
LSD.
It's hard for me to believe that because I could tell you why. Because when I was in a band, and I was young, and I traveled all over the world. I was, the long hair, the whole thing. We would trip, and as we were singing, and we would record it sometimes. And I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. We play it back. I go, wasn't that great? It's like I think when you're sane, it's like when I'm acting, I can't get high when I'm acting. I can't drink or I can't take pot when I'm acting. I could act like I'm high, but to do it, I think that it's wrong for the art. As an actor, if I'm going to get high, I'm going to act I'm high. If I'm going to be drunk, I don't want to be drunk. I'm going to act
I
that I'm
can't
drunk.
drink before I go on stage. I want to be sharp and quick.
How about you, Kathrine? Could you go on stage high?
I mean, I've had. I have to admit, I've had a drink or two before I went in front of a camera.
Were you high, but?
No, I relaxed. I took
Okay,
a little,
you relaxed.
a little drink. or
Maybe,
two.
but I couldn't be high and concentrate on what I'm doing.
But there's some
Some
artists.
people really do it. Like Carlos Santana played the best set ever when he was given LSD. You know the story? He was
No.
given LSD because he thought at Woodstock that he was going on like way later than he originally was.
Wow.
And then so he took some LSD with his band, and then they were like, "You're on now," and he was like, "What?" And he had to go on now, tripping, and it's like one of the most incredible shows
Yeah,
of
About
all
Jimi
time.
Hendrix, he was LSD.
Yeah, I think it
and
depends on the comic and
I
the
think it depends
like
on
Mitch
the person.
Hedberg would go on stage high all the time, right?
There's some artists that believe if they stop getting high, they won't be able to create the art that they create, whatever field they're in of entertainment. And you know who thought that? Charles Bukowski, the poet.
Yes, Charles Bukowski.
He has a beautiful poem. It's I love this poem. It's called The Blue. I got a bluebird in my heart. And it's about, he was soft on the inside, but really Charles Bukowski was a raging alcoholic, crazy.
Raging, yeah.
And it was called I Got a Bluebird in My Heart, this poem. And he says, and at night I pour alcohol on him, but I know he's there, and I let him out just a little bit. And because he was, and he says, what do you want to do, ruin my sails if I let you out? Because he thought that if he would stop drinking,
See, that's
he wouldn't be as great.
That's not really. I know, but if you think of if you study psychology, and again, I'm not a shrink or anything, but I've studied it a lot. Is like Vincent van Gogh was possessed by demons, like crazy. Cut off his ear, and he never saw a painting in his lifetime. But when Vincent van Gogh painted, he was sane. So a lot of people say, "Oh, you got to be an asshole, crazy to be an artist." No, you don't. That's one of those myths, like
Yeah.
They go, "Oh, look, what's his name? Ron Howard. Ron Howard is like one of the great directors, right? He doesn't get high. You don't have to be stoned to be this great. You think Marty Scorsese shows up stoned? You think Steven Spielberg shows up stoned? There was a great artist, a great director. He did The Bad Lieutenant. He was great. What's his name?
Oh, not Chris.
Oh my God.
I'll Google it.
He's really a great director. And I thought, I hope he's still alive. And I thought that hurt him.
Oh, Abel Ferrara.
Abel Ferrara.
Abel Ferrara.
He is a great director.
Great.
But I always thought his drug use maybe hurt him. Because he would have been on top of things a little more.
He was a great director.
Really soulful and great.
Do you think the Beatles and Pink Floyd could have written their albums without drugs just as well?
I don't know if they wrote it with drugs.
They did. Beatles, for sure, they have Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds singing about LSD.
Right. Were the Beatles stoned when they wrote? I don't know.
I don't know if they actually were when they wrote it, but I feel like they were, or I've heard it somewhere that they were.
I think young actors romanticize being being high. To be a great artist, you got to be high. The brooding actor,
The brooding actor.
they drink, they smoke,
Well,
they romanticize that
right.
kind of
Comics
artist
too.
life.
Comics too.
So they don't think they're going to be funny without being a certain, in a different mood. Listen, to each his own, right? I do think you become less inhibited when you're more relaxed and you're,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that could be an element of it. I think
We should speak to comics about that. Look, Joey Diaz is one of the great comics today. Fucking phenomenal. But Joey doesn't get high, does he?
Joey
Joey
was always
has his
high.
own. He has his own brands.
Joey Diaz, a comedy savage.
Savage.
Yeah, he's
Savage.
got weed. I smoked it. It's really good.
But I'd like to ask Joey, does he ever go on stage not high? I bet he does.
I wonder.
I
I
wonder.
bet he does. Joey, call me about that. Let me know about that.
I
bet
guess
he
it's
does.
different per person because personally, I couldn't work if I was high or drunk. I mean, ask Mike
I
or
can't work.
anybody else in my company. If I'm on a shoot, I will not touch any alcohol and I will not touch weed.
What's funny is when you first initially asked the question about a job, I'm like, no, you shouldn't be intoxicated at work. And then Dante made a great point because half of my industry probably is. He's like, it depends
Right.
on what you do. I just don't. But yeah, it depends on what you do.
I tried getting stoned before a show once, and then I really thought I was killing it, and then I watched it.
And,
Yeah, that's what happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of a show?
It was like a live. It was like a video. I was doing like a live video, and I kind of smoked a little bit before, a lot before. I was like a sophomore in college, and then I played it, and then I listened to it, and I'm like, oh shit, never
Right.
again.
I have to tell you though, I've smoked weed and did some really amazing paintings. And I have to say, when I'm acting, no, but when I'm painting, weed smoking and having a little glass of wine and smoking weed, it really takes me out of my head and I'm more free and non-judgmental of myself.
Different art form. Different art form. Same artist, different art form. I
can't.
think I have great ideas if I'm under the influence, and then I read them back when I'm sober, and I'm like, no.
Right.
Did you do it when you were a musician?
Yes.
You would get high before shows?
I learned that
Before
recently
shows?
in my life.
Yes.
My dad all through his life used to be like, if you ever do drugs, you ever smoke pot, stay in jail. It's safer there. Now, I learned like recently, he's like,
I love
yeah,
the
when I was
stories of
living
my-
in St.
Well,
Thomas.
was I going to tell you this
Yeah.
at 14?
Yeah, I was living
because
on
you would
top-
have said to me.
I was living on top of a club in St. Thomas, seeing the tourists. We get high all the time.
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck?
He said, well, you took LSD? I went, yeah. I was going to tell you that at 14, 13. You would have been like, hey, Dad, don't tell me anything. You did
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
So I said, no way. I'll tell him when he's 25.
He's right on that.
That's
so
right.
do we have any fan questions at all today?
Yeah, I got a fan
I got
question.
one that I
What-
love.
What happened?
What is it?
What?
Would you rather date a divorcee, however you say it, or a widow?
Well, I think a woman would rather date a widow, because
How did she die? Did she disappear mysteriously?
Oh, good question.
does she?
Either
Listen,
way, I don't care. She's gone. Next.
So
Now
you,
you're talking about a sci-fi movie.
so you would rather date somebody where his wife died,
100%.
and the reason why?
It's better off that way. I don't want to have to deal with somebody's ex.
Maybe there was a reason for the divorce.
That's a question. Chazz Palminteri
No.
Show at gmail.com.
Okay.
Send your
How about
Would you
questions. in.
rather? Would you rather date a guy who divorced his wife but it's over, or a guy whose wife died but he can't get over it, like Bobby Bacala?
Bobby Bacala.
On The Sopranos.
Sopranos, right?
Oh, like he can't get. I mean, no, I'm not going to date anybody who's not. You know.
But would you? Okay, so would you then rather date a guy who just got divorced but he's done, but she's still alive?
Is she done? Is the question.
I don't know. He's done though.
Suspenseful.
Do they have children? So many factors
They
play
have
into this.
How
one-
about you, Chazz? Would you
one
rather date
miracle
a
child
woman
together.
who's-
I really, it doesn't bother me if her husband died or he's still alive, as long as it's over and she's divorced. It's the woman. I don't care. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm not threatened by her husband if he's still alive.
Right.
You know, I mean, to me, there's certain things. I mean, like you want to talk about red flags. I mean, how would you like to date a person, and she doesn't say it, but she doesn't like your children,
Oh, God.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she doesn't want to be around them. I mean, you're done. It's over.
It complicates things. I have a friend who won't date a girl because she's posting about her husband who passed away, and he's like, I don't want any part of it. I'm like, but he's gone.
She's gone.
He's like, no, I won't date her. You know,
Would
she
that bother
mourns
you,
him too
Dante?
much. I go, she has children with the man. Let her. That's her
She
children's
has
father.
children with
Let
the
her
guy.
post about him.
I mean, are you that fucking insecure?
Come on, he's not coming over for Sunday dinner.
Wow, come on. I think I mean, some people got to have a little more, like, self-esteem. She can't post about her husband who died.
Okay, what about if her husband died but she's a medium?
Oh, now it just.
All right, so what?
Did you smoke, Dante?
I did not.
Did you do LSD before this podcast?
No,
My
that
son
comes
is
later.
whacked.
If the husband died, but she's a medium.
because there's too much communication there with your
Too
ex.
much. Yeah.
I don't care if she's communicating with him. She's sleeping with me. Let her communicate with him.
I love your confidence.
Yeah.
It's the best. It really is.
Yeah,
I love that.
Really, she's sleeping with
This is
me.
I kinda
podcast.
feel the same
podcast
way as
Chazz is
Chazz.
very liberal.
What?
Podcast Chazz is very open-minded.
Yeah, I think I would
No,
like
no
that.
podcast chat. You know how much confidence I got. She's a medium. So what? She talks to him when we're not around. But she's my wife, and she's sleeping with me.
Wow.
Might be talking shit about you. You don't know.
Let him talk shit about me. It's okay. I'm alive. He's dead.
Woo! I like that.
Really? I don't know. I never.
Long live the king.
Long live the king. I never had that.
Next.
No,
Next question.
I never had that.
Next question. I'm dating a man with a kid. I really like the guy and can see a future, but everyone tells me it's only going to be problems in the future.
Because of the kid?
Dating somebody with kids.
Guys, I mean, what is everybody? I mean, I don't know. Do you expect? I mean, if you're 23 years old and you meet a girl, you say, "Oh, this might be a problem," but when you're a man and you just can't, it's so hard to meet someone. So she has a kid. So what?
I like that.
I dated a girl for 10 years when I met her. She had a child, a baby, and I was 23. She was 19.
Wow.
And she had a baby, and it didn't bother me. I mean,
That's you know what? You have a good heart. That's beautiful. I love that.
I have a good question to tie
love
into
that.
this one. So, say your kids are teenagers and you date a man, and these teenagers don't like your boyfriend, but your boyfriend is super nice to you, super nice to the kids, but for whatever reason, the kids
Wow,
hate
that's
the
a good
boyfriend.
question.
Do you keep him, or do you listen to your kids and get rid of him?
Wow.
well, I would want to know why they don't like him. He's nice to them and everything.
Yeah.
What is I would have a talk with him. What is the reason why you don't like my boyfriend or my girlfriend? What's the reason? Tell me why.
Yeah.
This is so commonplace too. I know so many people must be struggling with this, even listening to this podcast, because it's, there's second marriages. There's people who meet people when they get older, and the kids factor in. I have a girlfriend who I'm like, you may face the fact you're 42 and single. You may have to meet a guy who has kids already.
Right. And fortunately, she met a guy who doesn't have children. Right?
Well, no, I met a guy who didn't have children, but she may have to have a guy with kids because it's more it's a lot of people at this point. If you're single in your 40s, chances are you've already been married or had kids or at least have had a kid.
Right. But you were happy when you heard Michael wasn't married and didn't have any children.
I was.
Yeah.
I'm
Because
being honest,
Yeah.
just because it presents less of an initial
less of an issue.
complication.
Less of an issue. Right.
But I came from a single mother, so I'm glad that somebody was willing to be with her. But
You know, right. Here's what I got to say. When you marry somebody, you marry the family.
definitely,
Too. Okay.
True.
And the problem with all you young people out there, and maybe probably adults too, when you get married, when you say you're thinking about getting married, you have to ask questions to your future wife, and she asks these questions to you. Hey, how do you feel about children? Do you want children? Do you don't want children? How do you feel about finances? Do you feel like we both should share the finances? Husband might say, I feel like I like to handle the finance. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about living close to your in-laws or my in-laws? These are questions you got to ask ahead of time. Too many people get married and then they find this out later. You mean you don't want children? What, are you kidding? But I thought we were going to have kids. Well, you never really asked me. What? So I think you gotta ask questions. I mean, to get a driver's license, you got to ask questions. To get a gun permit, you got to ask questions. Getting married, you should ask questions to each other. I know.
Yeah.
I think so. Really, I mean, wow.
What do you think about going back with exes? Like you broke up, you both dated,
Oh.
you meet again down the line a couple of years later, and then you start dating again. What do you think about?
That's a damn good question.
My 2 cents is, what was the cause of the breakup?
Right. Has the breakup resolved into something else? Or, well, a reason why, and now that reason is gone. But, I know people who get married, divorce. 3 years later, they get married again.
I've seen that, yep.
Here's what I say. You get married, you got divorced. 3 years later, you meet, don't get married again.
I agree.
Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton did it.
Yeah, and they got divorced
How
a
many
year
years
later.
apart though? Was there a husband in between them?
Yeah.
It was divorced him, married somebody else, then went back with him though. No.
They went back with him. Only lasted a year. Got divorced again.
I guess it really comes down to the reason. I get cheating is one thing, and then what if one of them?
Sometimes people are young. Like people come. I had a couple at my comedy show the other day. You know, I was doing crowd work, and I found out they were dating when they were teenagers, right? And then they separate. Whatever happened, a kid breakup. And then who got married and had kids? Who got married?
Yeah,
had
that's all right.
Then they got, you know, either divorced or widowed, and then they got reunited, and now they're together. I think that's
My daughter Sally Ann's back with her ex. They met when they were kids.
No, that's
She
so
was a
different.
teenager.
That's
Yeah.
different.
And now they're like call themselves soulmates. He got married, had 3 kids, and then came back years later, and these now.
Yeah,
my
and
daughter.
look, if it works out, great. But that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Well, there's
Usually-
this saying: if you love something, let it go. If it's meant to be, it will come back to you.
Yeah. I got to tell you, this has been, I really like when we go off on some of these things here. You know, this has been a great show. I really, wow. I really enjoy, listen, Chazz Palminteri show at gmail.com. Send how you feel about your comments, about your questions. Tara, where are you going to be?
Tara Jokes. You can find me everywhere on social media.
Follow
at
her
Tara
on
Jokes.
Instagram, and of course, the legend, not a myth, the legend, Kathrine Narducci, who's played Robert De Niro's wife more than Robert De Niro's wife. And follow Kathrine on Instagram, and she's coming out with a movie directed by obviously the great Barry Levinson and with Robert De Niro. And you're doing great, kid.
Yeah.
Like 30-something years ago, you walked in that audition for Bronx Tale, and after that, boom, Sopranos.
The rose petals,
The rose
were laid
petals
out.
were laid out for you.
They were
Wow.
feeding
I
her
galloped
grapes.
into
They
the
feed her
sunset.
grapes now.
God bless. Come and see the one-man show. It's really a great show.
Unbelievable.
And don't forget my restaurants, 30 West 46th Street in Manhattan, 264 Main Street in White Plains. I have 2 of the top Italian restaurants in the city. I never say the best, but it's definitely one of the best.
Yes.
Excellent.
So, ChazzPalminteri.net for show dates. God bless you. See you next week.